Hey, good afternoon, all. This is Paul Asmar from CamelbackTrading.org. And didn't realize, but tomorrow, well, I just realized it obviously. Tomorrow is October 19th, and it's a Monday. And it got me to thinking that 33 years ago tomorrow, as you're looking at the picture of the trading floor from the day of the market crash, and I was one of the people that was down there that day. I was down there. Thought it'd be cool to reminisce for a couple of minutes, especially people that are newer to trading, and everything's been electronic throughout their whole career. And you see that trading floor? That's pretty much what we dealt with every day. Massive humanity. You could see the trading posts. You could see the monitors where all the stocks were. The people standing inside the post were called the trading assistants. The ones right out front were the specialist brokers, and then all the other people were the house brokers, the Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, who would come up to your trading post to trade your stocks. And on that day in 1987, I was actually a trading assistant. So I was one of the people right behind the trading post. And that day when I walked in, I had my oldest daughter was not even 3 months old yet. I had just bought my first new car, a Mazda 323, 3 weeks earlier on my birthday. We had just rented a bigger apartment, my wife and I with the baby, in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And when I walked out that night, I thought maybe we were in danger of losing it all. But believe it or not, that day actually was a stepping stone and actually started to define my career. So as horrible as it was for a lot of people down there, a lot of us got the chance to prove ourselves. I was the trading assistant in Compact Computer, which the best way to describe it back in 1987 was one of the growth stocks, big story names in trading back then. They were rivaling IBM. I guess you could say they were the Apple, Tesla of their day. Certainly didn't do the volume that we do today. But remember, computers had just been introduced. And in fact, half our stocks were still on paper books, half were on computer. Compaq was on a computer terminal. However, all the trades I made, well, that the specialist made in that Compaq that day, I had to write them down. It was handwritten. So whereas on a normal day we'd write down 2 to 3 trading sheets with maybe 10 on each, that day we probably had over 100. And we had no idea what our position was, our P&L was, not just in Compaq, but in all our stocks. But again, it did define a lot of our careers. Back at that time, stock didn't clear. So at least 3 days, I believe. I'm not even sure how much it was. And we always had to worry about what was called a QT, or a question trade. And 3 days later, after that day, these stocks were trading $30, $40 away from where they were at the time of October 19th. And we really had to worry if we had an error that was our fault, that we would have to eat it. And Compaq was probably one of the busiest stocks on the trading floor that day. And I was very proud to say we had minimal question trades, and that basically cost us almost nothing. And there was another high-profile tech stock at the time. I won't mention the firm or the stock's name, but they had major issues which cost them a ton of money. And I actually had somebody from that firm approach me weeks later asking me if I wanted a job there. So it was cool to get your name out there. They offered me more money than I was making. They offered me a promise of probably getting my specialist badge earlier than at the firm I was at, because I was in a very small boutique specialist firm. There were 64 specialist firms when I started in 1983. When I left in 2000, the end of 2007, there were 5 left. And even after 1987, a bunch of those started getting swallowed up by bigger ones because they realized they needed more capital. We were able to stay on our own for about another 9 years, actually, my small little firm. But because it was small, I knew I wasn't going to get my badge as soon as this other firm was offering me. But one of the people in my firm, and who's now in my trading room, and was my mentor and like a second dad to me, And we sat down and talked, and I told him what I was thinking of doing, and he said, "Look, I can't promise you what they're offering you, but I can promise you that you're in an environment that I think would be more conducive to your career." And I'll tell you what, I stayed with my original firm, and about 4 months later, I met a fellow that ended up taking the job I was offered, and he was absolutely miserable. He was absolutely miserable how he was being treated. He was being treated basically like a commodity. They didn't care about him, and he wasn't happy at all. So I knew I'd made the right decision, and years later, I got my trading badge, and I was very fortunate to become this person's partner down the road. So it was amazing how that day, although it was dark for so many people, we worked. So that was a Monday. So we worked that for the next 2 weeks. We were getting in probably at between 6 and 6:30 in the morning, getting home at midnight, and we were working weekends also, probably from 9 to 1 on Saturday and Sundays. That's how much paperwork, that's how much rewriting our trading books. Remember, every order that wasn't on a computer had to be handwritten in these trading books that we had. So it was absolutely amazing. It was a horrible time. It was a wonderful time. Christmas turned out to be very nice. Our firm did very well after that, as we survived and ended up having a very good year, which helped obviously all the specialists, all the trading assistants. But it was a remarkable day, and I guess I'm saying this for a couple of reasons. Number one, what it was like then, and that's 33 years ago, as you can see this picture, and what it is like now is night and day. Right now, it's just everything is just electronic. Every stock's traded on probably 100 exchanges through different terminals. Down there, you had the camaraderie that went along with working with people that close. As you can see, that trading floor, that's not a one-day event. What you see in that picture is how we dealt every day with everybody on the floor. That's how crowded it was. But it was one of the best communities you could ever work for. And the fact that I stayed with my original firm, and this person who's in my trading room ended up giving me an opportunity to be his partner. His motto was, if you treat people right, it'll pay you back 1,000 times over, even if it costs you in the short term. And I've always tried to live by that little saying. It's so true. If people don't like who they're working for, they'll give minimal effort. But if people love who they're working for and what they do, they'll bend over backwards for them. And I certainly took that with me through my whole 25-year career down there. I take that now in my career, sitting behind the screen and trying to help others. That's why so many people say that what I charge for my room is absurd, and it probably is. But you know what? I'm doing it because, number one, I enjoy teaching and educating. Number two, it makes it affordable for younger people, older people, anybody who's just trying to learn. So passing it on, like my old mentor passed it on to me, is key. And that was one of the greatest places to work. It truly was. So if you ever get an opportunity to watch old movies about what the trading floor used to be like, or read a book, well, guess what? Join my trading room and pick my brain when we're slow. We love talking about it, as there are a couple of people in the room that did work with me on the trading floor. But anyway, I thought this would be kind of interesting, just to talk about what transpired down there on that day, 33 years ago tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow morning, when I turn on my computer screens, we're not facing anything similar, because as career defining as it was, the look of terror on a lot of people's faces down there that day and in the coming days was pretty tough to watch. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this little career path. Enjoy your Sunday, and we'll talk to you prior to the opening tomorrow.